What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Culture and God.
Welcome back.
We got my boy Josh here, Josh Morale.
Yes, sir.
And my name is Angel, if you don't know. And we are going to be talking about some conspiracy theories. I mean, we're still in quarantine here.
Still in quarantine.
Yeah. And
Don't tell nobody.
Don't tell nobody.
We're out, but we're still before curfew.
Yeah, and we're still arm's length away, so we're practicing social distancing in the I gotta be honest, man. I thought this whole thing was a scam at first. I did not.
Social distancing or coronavirus?
The coronavirus in general. I was like, yo, there's no way, it can't be. People are doing this for attention. The media is like lying to us.
Yeah.
It's like the boy who cried wolf, like the media lies to us all the time. Why wouldn't this be any different? And then you start hearing about people getting the coronavirus, and it's
crazy timing too, right before the elections. You know what had me bugging out was I saw something that essentially the U.S. government did a ceasefire agreement with Hezbollah.
Really?
To stop bombing in the Middle East. And it was like a week long, a ceasefire treaty, and they broke it. And there was a whole bunch of back and forth bombing, which is obviously being bombarded by all this corona stuff now.
Oh, wow.
But like that's crazy. How is the U.S. government making a treaty with essentially like a gang?
Right.
You know
right, because it's like you're
a terrorist group.
A terrorist group, which means you don't follow rules.
But given straight, authority for all these other cartels and stuff like that to now start acting out and receiving some type of acknowledgement from. That's
scary stuff. I never heard that. Yeah. I mean, I've watched the news less in the last 2 weeks than I have in the last 2 years. I'm usually so into it and I want to be informed. This has everybody so paranoid and anxious that I'm trying to stay away from it, because the last thing that I want is to become paranoid and then just break down mentally from this thing.
But I feel like paranoia is it's a proper motivating factor.
So I know you. Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
You have been waiting for this moment your whole life.
I've been playing zombies on Call of Duty. Shout out Call of Duty. Love you guys.
Oh, my gosh.
Forever. And
you were the first person I know.
Fireproof, stormproof matches,
Yeah, you're the first person I know that moved to PA, not because it's nicer and more room, but because you want to be able to hold down the fort just in case there's some kind of invasion.
Shout out to the castle. Bring that to Jersey. We need that.
So when we were first talking about it was a week ago or maybe a little more. I was like, yo, this is all BS, bro. This is all garbage. You got to stop. I know you want this to be true. And now I'm ready. Now I'm like, yo, can I borrow some toilet paper?
Yo, I got toilet paper, gas, water, whatever you need, bro.
Yeah, man. So walk us through your mentality of the prepper side of you, because you're a very city guy. It's
absolutely, but I feel like what was that phrase in the last Batman with Christian Bale? Not Ben. I feel like you fucked that one up, bro.
Yeah, bro.
But when they go. When he's trying to climb out of the ditch with the rope.
Why do we learn to fall?
No. When he's trying to get out, and he's fear is the biggest motivating factor.
Oh, when he's in that deep cave.
Yeah, in the deep cave.
Okay,
and they're you have to, embrace the fear, because that's what's going to make you jump further and be more conscious of it. And I think now that this is happening, everybody's realizing oh shit, I messed up.
Right.
Because now we're so used to, if I'm hungry, I'll just order from this place tonight.
Right.
Or, I have, a bottle of water or a case of water in the house.
Right.
Nobody's prepared for anything real.
Right. Yeah, I think it's a very crazy misconception, because people who were prepping for something like this before looked at as absolute maniacs. But there's so many degrees to how you can do it. You can be that crazy prepper that makes their family pack up and leave every 3 months just in case or twice a month just in case there's an attack. But then there could just be practical steps that you take to just prevent yourself.
Just have canned foods, water, first aid, stuff like that, which I think everybody should have.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: growing up, my homie Kevin, his family, they had a freezer in the basement stockpiled with backlog 3 months worth of food. all times, like since I can remember. And then like they have
Which
a
is not
whole
a bad idea,
pantry,
though.
you know, like they just always had food on reserve, man.
Yeah,
And
just in
like,
case, you never know.
I remember just looking at that curiously, like, wait, why is there all this food here? I can't eat it, you know?
Yeah.
but like growing up, I'm like, damn, yo, his dad was like legit prepping.
Yeah, you have
just in
to. You
case.
have to. And the reality of it is, man, I think it's more along the lines of just being conscious and just understanding, like, you know, nowadays, I think we've de-evolved. You know, obviously we're both faith believing, you know, godly principle, you know, believe in the Bible. But let's just, you know, for the sake of conversation,
Okay.
you know, okay, we evolved from apes, which were hunter-gatherers, to all this stuff. You know, at one point, we completely disassociated ourselves.
Right.
That now, I know guys who don't know how to change the tire.
Right.
You know, oh, I call AAA. But, like, how about if you're, like, stranded on the side of the road?
Or how about if there's a virus?
You know, a virus, and, like, AAA's like, no, you're good. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like,
what are you going to do, watch a YouTube video?
Yeah,
You
we'll
know?
walk you through it. How about that? We'll be on the other end of the phone.
And it's crazy stuff, man. Like how to build a fire, you know, how to
Yeah.
fish, how to do basic stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy because like learning all those things growing up, like learning how to start a fire, how to do some minor fishing. You know, you've taken me fishing, shot a gun or whatever. It's interesting to see how many people look at you sideways when you tell them that you know how to do that. Like I was at a barbecue once, like a church barbecue, and nobody could figure out how to start the fire. Nobody could figure out how to start the fire pit. And I was like, yo, stand back. I was in Boy Scouts for like 6 months. I got you. And I started it.
Nice.
And people were like, yo, he's nature boy. I'm like, it's
like basic
bare
stuff,
essentials of like before we can build skyscrapers, we got to at least know how to build a fire.
No. And you'd be surprised, man. Like, you know, obviously, you know, I'm a proper gun owner. You know, make sure I follow all the laws and stuff like that. And it's like one or two people that are like, wait, you have a gun? Yeah. And then the other people are like, yeah, like, yo, I have a gun too. Like, you know, let's go shooting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's such a crazy dynamic that I think everybody should know certain principles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like my wife knows how to shoot a gun.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the things that I did, you know, when we first got engaged. We got engaged. Next day, we were like, yeah, let's go to a shooting range.
Oh, wow.
Because I told her, I was like, babe, something happens, I need to know. You know, if I'm down and out, you know, I need to know that you're going to hold the fort down.
Yeah. How's it? She's a good shot?
Yeah, she's a freaking pretty good shot.
She picked it up too quick.
Yeah, too quick. I don't know whose face she was seeing on that target, you know, but
coming home late.
What'd you say, right? You don't want to eat that food? All right.
Yeah, man. I mean, I do want to own a gun. I said that on the last episode, but like for me, I think it's more about appreciating all of the bare essentials that have gotten us to this point. Like there's a quote that comes to mind where it's like, hard times create strong men create, I forget the order. Strong men create, damn, I want to look it up because it's so good. But essentially it means like, it's like the trajectory of generations is like hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times.
Interesting.
And so it's like,
wow.
So it's like this whole
That's
idea of
pretty
like
sick right
we've gotten to the point where life is so good,
Yeah.
everything is just so accessible that the only thing that can happen is like this generation of people coming up are going to be so soft that any little thing is going to throw us off our rocker.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's what happened now.
Yeah. Like now like girls hope that their boyfriend isn't like a feminist, but that he can actually start a fire.
Yeah.
You know?
Complete. And it's crazy because, you know, the way I look at it now, it's just like, you know, obviously we were raised in a different era.
Which is crazy to say, but go on.
You know, like me as a barber growing up in the hood.
Yeah.
You know, if I messed somebody's haircut up, you know, I would be liable to get punched in the face.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, I'm a keyboard warrior. Let me just write you a bad review.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay,
there's a comedian, Chris DeStefano. He was on Guy Code.
Okay.
And he talks about like people just don't get punched in the face anymore.
Yeah.
That's like his whole bit
Absolutely,
is like there's no immediate threat for your actions anymore. Like when we were growing up, riding bikes, freaking hopping fences to like the Prospect Park playground or whatever. Like if you got in a fight on the like while you were playing touch football, you're gonna get punched in the face.
Yeah.
And like maybe some kids from a few blocks over will jump you. You know, steal your bike or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's just no threat. Like that would be bullying, and that would be like all
absolutely.
You know, it's like we
Well,
bullied
that's why you
you.
have kids nowadays that, you know,
They run the house.
They run the house, you know, fuck you mom, fuck you dad. Oh man, let my kids say something like that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, bro, and that's the crazy part about this whole coronavirus thing is like I don't know how much more prepared we could have been. Like we literally have all the technology, and there's just one thing that snuck in, and it's just like ruining us.
Well, I think what's messing it up is that, and like you were saying before, that these now entitled. I don't want to say weak, because weak is a very I feel general blanket to put over this, but I feel like entitled because now you have all these kids going down to, Miami or Cancun for spring break,
Right.
and they're just like, yeah, like screw it. Who cares if there's a worldwide pandemic going on? I just want to party and get trashed and take tequila shots. You know what I mean? It's like, at certain point, and that's where I think the disconnection is, to be able to say, okay, this is the proper thing to do. Let's take responsibility and be conscious of these actions.
Right.
Compared to, like, you're just stupid.
Right.
But if we say we're stupid, oh no, I just want to be free and stuff, like, no, you're stupid. You know what I mean? Somebody needs to say you're stupid.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, man. Like, I can't blame them because, like, kids by definition are stupid. Kids don't know. Like, they don't have the hindsight. They don't have the foresight. They don't understand how real the ramifications of your actions really are. I mean, so it's like,
yeah, but like, we're talking about now, which I feel, because now if we're talking about, let's just say 18 to 21 year olds.
Yeah. What were we doing at 18 to 21, bro?
You know what I mean? And like, what were our, like, our fathers and our grandfathers doing at 18 to 21?
They were
like fighting freaking World War II.
Storming the beaches in Normandy.
Storming the beaches of Normandy. Yeah. And like, we're just sitting here freaking,
We're like, don't go outside.
Yeah. It's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
And, I think, a part of me almost sees the trajectory, and I know we weren't gonna go the conspiracy theory route, but I think it's appropriate.
Nah, let's do it.
Only because now we have things in line that aren't really what they should be.
Like what?
Let's just say, the homosexual community.
Okay.
Right. Now,
the LGBTQ.
LGBTQ, T, XYZ. You know what I mean? All of that. Now, I have no quarrel. I know many people who are good people. You know what I mean? Based on, and their sexual preference has no bearing on me, because I don't do what they do in the bedroom and they don't do what I do in the bedroom.
Right.
And,
right.
But when we meet amicably, it's, a productive, we all have principles to abide by, which we'll go there later, the old school gays and new school gays.
Old school,
we'll do that.
yeah.
Right? But I think so much premise is put on that. Why aren't we talking about how veterans that were fighting in war are now homeless or committed suicide or drug addicts?
Right.
Why is that not as, if not equally as important, more important,
right,
than people who, than a group of people who essentially just want, to express themselves freely?
Right.
Like, you have people dying who served for our country,
right,
just so you could bitch about how you want to dress.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No, it's funny, the whole veteran conversation. It's rough because it's taking something that some people believe strongly we shouldn't glorify, which is war, and we're taking war heroes and we're saying these people are coming back from defending our freedom and they don't have anywhere to go, and some people may be of the mindset like, oh, who cares, they're just murderers. And that to me is like
correct.
sad.
But I think, and that's like those people who are like, oh no, Trump is not my president.
Which is the funniest statement, dude.
But it's like, it's all just honestly, like, ignorant irony.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, that's not my president, but he is a president of the United States. Are you not a citizen of the United States?
Right. It's like,
no, Obama's my president, but Obama's not the president anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's like, do you pay taxes?
You know
like,
what I
yeah. To where? To the government, and who runs the government? Yeah.
Who's commander in chief right now? Like, do you agree with his philosophies? No, but that's why we live in a democracy, not
not communist China.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like, the sky is not blue. he's not my president. It's like, of course he is. You saying that isn't solving anything. You know, it's not providing an alternate perspective. It's not creating thoughtful discussion. It's not even providing what's the word? Like a rebellion of any sort. It's just wrong thought. Yeah. That's it. It's just
stupidity.
Yeah, it's just stupidity. And
so going back to the war vets and the comparison with the LGBT community, my thing is now you have war vets who are fighting for your right to bitch about this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And
so where's the conspiracy in that?
So now the conspiracy is, why is it that that's not being painted as that appropriate picture?
You're saying why is the narrative of the LGBT community still such a positive one when there's...
Well, I feel like why is there more of a highlight on like the LGBT community and not the veterans?
Okay, so it's like a matter of attention. It's like absolutely. why is the LGBT community getting so much more attention than, let's say, veterans in need?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think
and it's not just singling out obviously LGBT or veterans,
right?
Because there's so many aspects of it. You know, why does Black Lives Matters, want to be there for every rally, but where are they at in like Chicago where kids are freaking dying every day,
right?
Or in like every other hood, in America, where are they at? Why are they not, talking about that?
Yeah.
And you have Jesse Smollett talking about, Smollett, come on,
the French actor, is that what you're talking?
The French actor, like, oh, what are you doing? No, I got jumped, in Chicago with like a rope around your neck,
right. No, I think I get your point. And it's like we pay attention to the wrong things, and I think it's a marketing issue.
Oh, completely.
Like
and
the
that's
LGBT
why stuff like we're doing now, freedom of speech and the open media is pivotal.
Right. It's like the LGBTQ community has the best marketing could possibly have. They have corporations dedicating weeks to them, months to them, and it's like their ability to message and to convey brand is like unparalleled. And I think that's the thing is like whereas veterans is looked at like, yeah, of course we need to take care of veterans, of course. Whereas the LGBTQ community is like, it's like they're rallying for a cause that's still in action, like they haven't attained it yet.
But I feel like
it's messaging.
Absolutely, but I feel like there's a difference between, the old school philosophy of like, hey, I don't care if you're black, white, yellow, green, straight, gay, rich, poor. You do what you have to do. You have a good, good character,
right?
Good work ethic,
right?
And I'm gonna deal with you.
Yeah.
Compared to like the new school. And this is just a new school period. Mm-hmm. But it's like, oh no, I don't want to, I don't want to do this right now.
Right.
But you don't like me because I'm black or I'm Spanish or because I'm gay or because,
right.
Like, come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no, because you're fucking lazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why nobody likes you.
Yeah.
Like you're an asshole,
Right. Well, that's the thing. It's like, I don't know how many conversations I've had with people that are kind of in that same frame of mind where it's like, they're looking like at the world, like the world is out to get them. And like, I always feel like telling them, which I do sometimes, depending, excuse me. Nobody cares whether you win or lose. Nobody cares whether you succeed or not. It's up to you to make people care.
Yeah,
like,
and
that's
you really
have
to be like above and beyond. Like you really have to be doing something, running for president type of deal.
Right.
For people to like sabotage.
Right.
Your like choices.
Right. Nobody cares if you want to open up a gym.
You want to open up a gym
or a barbershop. Yeah. Like nobody's there to stop you. Like no, you cannot. You might change the world too much with your Pilates and yoga.
Yeah.
It's not.
And even so, like who cares?
Right.
It was like. And I think that's the difference between like the old school mentalities. Like, listen, not pay my bills. I don't care what you think.
Right.
Compared to nowadays, like, no, you hurt me.
Right. Where it's
You're
like,
a bully.
Just because you voice a different opinion is like, now I have the right to interject myself into your life with my opinion and punish you for the thing that you said.
Yeah.
Because
nonsense.
It's wild, man. And like that's like we're getting political, man. But that's the world we live in. And here's the thing, like I know people that are just not political at all. They don't care about politics. They don't care who's going to win presidency. They just do their thing. And the thing is, like, there's a famous quote by Andrew Breitbart that says, "You may not care about politics, but politics cares about you." And
Nice.
and like I see that coming to life more and more, where people that don't care either way are just being sucked into these like left and right categories because they have to pick a side because people will attack them if they say a certain thing. And it's like, all right, screw you, then I'm gonna pick this side. And it's just it's
yeah, we
wild.
definitely should have some independents running.
So here's my problem with independence, right?
Sure.
The independent party, right? Like, you know how you can run Democrat, Republican, Green, Libertarian, and then Independent. Like, when you have all of those, when you have more than two, there could be somebody that has 30% of the vote ends up being the president. And that becomes an issue because the majority of the country didn't vote for them.
Sure.
And the majority of the country doesn't want them. It's just that 30% ended up winning because, or 35, whatever, because the other two weren't good. So it's just like,
But isn't that the beauty of democracy?
well, it's dangerous because you don't want somebody who has a great base or a great like community to win, especially if they have bad ideas, you know? And it's like,
Agreed.
it's like, let's use the most hyperbolic freaking example that we can pick, which is, you know, Nazi Germany and Adolf Hitler, which is horrible. And
Sure.
if he were to have run for president and there was, he ran as an independent and he ran at a time where he had power, he could have won easily because he had so much power and influence. And that's the last thing that we want as a country, is somebody to come in, have like a small minority of like followers, and then become president. That's scary.
Well, I think that's kind of what happened with Trump.
The thing with Trump is that he ran as a Republican.
He ran as a Republican, but he also knew that, you know, and Roger Stone, bro, freaking evil genius.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
for who you guys don't know, Roger Stone has been like pivotal in the political scene for the last, you know, few decades.
Yeah, he's been everywhere. He's like Forrest Gump, you know, like how he just the key moments in history and you don't even realize it.
Yeah, basically.
That's Roger Stone, man. Only he's like puppet master back there pulling strings.
But I think Trump was. I mean, people appreciate his honesty, but I think he was definitely not presidential. He wasn't of a presidential character.
Right. Which I think worked to his benefit.
Yes, because people were tired of the politics.
Yeah. Like you had
like Bernie Sanders, like, oh, you know, there should be no millionaires. It's like, yo, but Bernie, you are a millionaire.
You are a millionaire.
And you own like 3 houses, my man. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. And that's the thing. We were leaving the era of Obama, right? Which was this polished, like chic presidential guy. And let's face it, left or right, majority of people were not happy with his presidency. You know, they were happy with him, the cultural icon of Obama, first black president. But when it comes down to it, you ask majority of black people.
But even Obama didn't indulge in the whole Black Lives Matter thing.
No.
You know, he kind of strayed away from that.
Because, yo, let's face it, man, he's a smart guy. He's not going to put himself into a fringe group like that. Like, Black Lives Matter is a very fringe thing. Like, they even attacked a Bernie rally.
Wow.
You know, like they like tried to take the microphone from Bernie. This is in the last election cycle before Trump was elected. Like they hopped on stage. They were like, we demand to be heard, you know, all this stuff. And this was Bernie's rally. Like, yo, he's on your side.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were ruthless. So of course, Obama's
why isn't that assertive approach taken in the hoods of America where, you know, you have, you know, kids killing kids and there's no Ku Klux Klan member around,
right?
You know, it's like black on black or minority upon minority crime,
right? Well, I think that's the myth about being a minority, is that you are guaranteed to experience racism. You know, it's like I by no stretch of the imagination, being Hispanic, have ever experienced direct racism that has affected my life. You know, and that's a big statement. I know that.
You have not?
I've never experienced it.
Have you ever experienced racism yourself?
No, not that I can recall. Like, nothing pops out at me as like, oh, they're doing this because I'm Hispanic. Like, I think it's, I've always been kind of a timid person. So like, it's not like I'm a threatening Hispanic, you know, but I think it has a lot more to do with the way you carry yourself than it does what your actual skin color is. Like you see Obama walk in the room, you're gonna be like, sir, how are you? You stand up, and then you see like I don't know, Future walk in the room, you're like, yo, what's good, bro? You know, like it's the way you carry yourself. It's what you think of yourself, the standards you set.
I definitely, I mean, I've experienced racism. I think the first time was maybe about 9, 10. And we went into a like an organic food store.
Okay.
And I saw a candy bar by the register, and I asked my mom if I could have it. She said no, so I put it back. The store owner didn't see me put it back, so he literally followed me outside. And he was like, "Oh, did you take something?" And I'm like, "No, what are you talking about?" He said, "I saw you take a candy bar." And I said, "No." So he went ahead, he checked all the bags. I said, "Mom, give me $1." You know what I mean? I went back inside, right to that same cashier, and was like, "Now," you know what I mean? And there's so many times in life that I've experienced some type of disdain or racism, essentially, that I've had to act out. But for me, it's more like, yo, I like to G-check.
Right.
Nowadays, when people are like, oh, you know,
you like to overcorrect, kind of.
Yeah, like, oh, what do you do? Yeah, well, you know, I'm a business owner. You know what I mean? Like, oh, aren't you from the hood? Aren't you from Patterson? Like, yeah, but obviously, you know, I do stuff to go back and, you know, nonprofit, you know, charity stuff. But I'm also like, no, I'm a respectable business owner.
Right.
You know, people are like, oh, you should hate your. I'm like, no, I'm not a statistic. I don't. You know, I don't have like 3 kids by 3 different baby mamas and sell drugs out of the back of my hoopty.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm all right. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
You are still working on your rap career, though. That's kind of cliche. That was a joke.
It's hard to get the hood.
That was a joke.
I mean? You can take him out the hood, but you can't take the hood out of him. No, what was the best one with Obama? That like he was saying hi to the I think this was Oklahoma City.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
And like he was like, "Hey, what's up, bud?" And then he sees Kevin Durant, like, "Oh, what's up?" You know what I mean? What's up? You know what I mean?
Daps him up.
Yo, straight up.
Yeah.
I think it's so true, man. And I think nowadays the balance is more so than ever now, because like it's almost like balanced racism, if that makes sense.
Explain.
Because now you have you know. So, okay, now you have, you know, there could be 10 minorities chilling on the corner in the hood or on a porch in the hood. Cops don't say anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have a white guy driving through the hood. They're pulling them over.
Right. Right.
Like, what are you doing here?
Right.
You don't belong here.
Right.
You know, opposite side of that coin, you have like, you know, a freaking, you know, minority driving through the hood, driving through a nice area with a fitted on.
Right. Well,
you know what I mean?
That reminds me of, like, now that you mentioned that, I used to live in West Milford for a little while. West Milford is like a very rural, very white town. Yeah. And on my way to go to West Milford, I would drive back and forth to school and to church and everything, which was like 40 minutes. There's like a long stretch of Highway 23 for those of you that are in the Jersey area. And passing through 23, man, there'd be tons and tons of cops. And it's like almost monthly, if not weekly, I'd get pulled over. Like, I mean, I had a hoopty. I was driving like this stick shift Dodge.
That's what, you know, and I've learned that in order to be in order to not find yourself in those situations, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna wear my button-up shirt.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick my hair back a little certain way.
Well, it goes back to how you hold yourself, how you present yourself, right?
Do you think that's being fake or no?
Huh?
Do you think that's being fake?
I think it depends what you want out of life. Like, I think to some people it could be an act.
Do you think that's being fake or playing the game?
A little bit. I think it's a little bit of both. I think, because here's the thing, the choices that you make as far as your fashion goes, who's to say whether that's fake or not? Like, it's like, if you wear it, it's your style, right? Like, it's how you want to express yourself. So if you want to express yourself in a more conservative or a more tidied up way.
But you don't go to a job interview in a t-shirt.
Exactly.
No.
So it's like, you dress for the part you want. So it's like, I don't want to be looked at. Right now I'm chilling, but I don't want to be looked at as like disrespectful or underdressed, mostly because I just enjoy fashion and I like
No.
dressing a certain way. But if that wasn't the case, man, I'd look like a slob all the time.
No.
You see how little I get haircuts.
Yeah.
You know, like, and my friend is a barber. He owns 2 barbershops, and
Yeah.
let alone, anything else. But I think it's really, a lot of it just has to do with like what your personal choices are. It's not fake. It's just who you are. You know, if you're Hispanic, and
Do you think that's how society views it though? Like somebody called me Uncle Tom the other day.
yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
I was like, what?
I think,
and the conversation was because I did not agree with people getting government assistance if they can't pass a drug test.
right. Okay.
So somebody's like, oh, how about that mom that's working like 3 jobs to support her 2 kids? And I'm like, yeah, maybe she shouldn't be doing crack. You know what I mean? Like, maybe she should just stay her ass home, man.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right. I do think there's variants. Like if you're testing positive for marijuana, it's like, all right, like it's
Yeah, a
legal.
little slap on the wrist. It's gonna be legal anyway. So
Right. Like it's got to be hard drugs.
yeah,
You test positive for hard drugs, in my opinion, let the taxpayers keep their money.
Yeah.
Keep that money. Don't give it to people that like. And this is where it's a huge shift in worldview. Like for us, we come from like the idea of like the Matthew principle, the Pareto distribution, where it's like to those who have much, more will be given, and to those who have little, even that will be taken away. Which on its own feels like, damn, that's cruel. But think about it, it's like you have to learn to steward the little before you can take on more. And then once you start getting good, more and more and more starts happening to you. So like at that like super practical level, it's like if you can't handle welfare money, then maybe you shouldn't be getting more than that, or if you can't handle having a part-time job, maybe you shouldn't be getting welfare. Which, like, I understand there's extenuating circumstances,
of course.
but if you can't handle not doing drugs, let's not even go as far as a job. Like if you can't even handle not doing drugs, why should the government bend over backwards all the way from DC to help you? Like, and that's where I think there's that shift in mentality too, because it's like, not only the government shouldn't have to help you, it should be the community that helps you, right?
And this is where the conspiracy theory comes out of me.
Okay.
Because it's like, why not build a society that's dependent on you?
That's, what do you mean?
Like, dependent on the government. Like, if I was the government, I'd be like, yeah, I'm just gonna make everybody like, subservient, and they're all just gonna follow my lead and just be a whole bunch of sheeple.
Are you saying that that's the goal or the idea of the government?
I think it's more than a goal or idea. I think it's a proven fact as of this point.
I think it's a proven fact that there have been governments like that.
Well, I think ours is to the point, and really that's why I really I appreciate the kind of capitalist mindset. Because now it's like, well, you have the opportunity to advance yourself as much as you want, or just walk around with your hand out. And I feel like there's more people complaining with their hand out than those who are actually going out there and trying to accomplish more.
I agree, but what I don't understand is, how is it that the government is creating a society that's less dependent on the individual, just by what you're saying? If you're a big fan of capitalism, wouldn't you also be a fan of small government?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
But I feel like, because you got to remember, we've had, and I personally think Obama was very presidential and charismatic in his approaches.
For sure.
But I also think he was enabling to a certain extent.
I agree.
So it's just like, instead of telling people like, hey, get off your ass, do what you got to do.
There's an interesting thing I heard about that. The idea of like the general public, the masses, have a very difficult time taking on nuanced ideas, right? So it's like somebody from a presidential level or governmental level, they may have all these nuanced ideas in their heads that they want to propagate. Is that the word? That they want to give forward. But it's not easy, because at some point somebody in the masses is going to be like, well, by that, did you mean, this crazy thing? And they'll misunderstand and take its logical to the extreme. And I think that's the problem that we run into with if we have a large government and if we have somebody overseeing and running everything, even the state level and all that. And if you're going to get a message across as the president, you have to make sure that it's simple enough for everybody to digest.
And that's where, I mean, I feel like that's part of good leadership and communication. But I think ultimately people should just know, like, okay, you know what, if I do X, Y, Z, you know, I'm going to be okay.
Right.
You know, if I educate myself about, you know, if you want to be a freaking rapper, you know, we were talking about this before. If you want to be a freaking rock star and you're not doing stuff that you need to do to freaking drop a dope demo,
Right.
and, you know, brand yourself as an artist, then you're just fooling yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of people that are just fooling themselves, like, oh, I'm going to be the next, you know, social media sensation, or, you know, the next billionaire, you know, entrepreneur.
Right.
When it's like, bro, you can't even freaking, you know, read up on you know, how to open up you know, what's the difference between an LLC and a corporation?
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I don't know, man. I think it's a.
Do you think coronavirus is man-made?
Do I think it's man-made?
Yeah. You know, like the Wuhan, it's like the biochemical lab.
I honestly don't know, man.
It's like 2 miles away from where it popped off.
Yeah.
You didn't hear about that?
No.
Yeah.
I said, man, I've been trying not to know
Nuts,
that much about it, but that's what happened. So the Wuhan.
Well, there's
market,
a biochemical lab.
Okay, away from
like in Wuhan.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And
not
then
too far away from
the market.
Yeah.
Where apparently there was bat soup that was eaten and all that stuff.
Bat soup, chemical warfare. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there, so.
Yeah.
So speculation, I guess.
I think it could be. And I think there could be the chance that this is like some sort of Chinese attack. But like, I mean, at this point, nothing's out the window because we're living a movie right now.
Yeah,
like there's 8:00 curfew. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that.
I haven't been home at 8:00 since I was like freaking 12.
Yeah. So like, I don't put it past like reasonable doubt that it could be a man-made thing. But I also think like, did you see the video of that market?
Oh yeah, it's
like
disgusting.
Yeah, like there's dead everything. Like there's dead dogs even. I was just like,
Disgusting.
I've never cringed at a video and had to turn it off before that.
Yeah.
Like that's just some outlandish, and just knowing that it's real, it's wild. But like I think that alone could definitely breed a virus.
Yeah.
You know, and I do think that there's like a just nature itself has this ability to like create something that will correct whatever is happening. It's regenerating itself. And that could be the case, or it could be man-made. I don't know.
Do you think this was like a perfect gate towards New World Order and Mark of the Beast now?
I heard somebody say that this was a possible way to get rid of the U.S. dollar and lean towards only digital currency.
Interesting.
And that I'm like, I mean,
digital currency. You didn't hear about like the whole, you know, vaccine and that.
What?
Did you see that thing, that the TED Talk that Bill Gates gave in like 2015?
Yeah. Where he says,
he like mentions all this.
He's like, yeah, there's only really one thing that could take down this humanity at this point.
You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say, you know, he's a billionaire genius. You know,
he's not Bill Gates for no reason.
He's not Bill Gates for no reason.
Yeah.
But to be able to say something like that with no hesitation.
Yeah.
On like a TED Talk, nonetheless.
Yeah. I also think like, so there's this idea of just because something is similar doesn't mean that it's been copied. So like, if I tell you, and this is something that I heard from Frank Turek, who's an awesome apologetics teacher. He said, if I told you about a story that there was a big, huge, gigantic ship that was supposed to set sail across the ocean, and halfway through it hit a glacier and it broke in half and it sank, what would you think about?
Titanic.
Okay, well, that was a novel written 40 years before the Titanic happened. So does that mean the Titanic copied the novel? Or does that mean that all the news about the Titanic was fake? Like, just because something is similar. I get what you're saying. You know, this was like, that story was a story that was written as a novel like 40, 50 years before the Titanic set sail.
And it was like a lot of. I think I heard about that, and there were like a lot of similarities.
Yeah, so many
into it, yeah.
similarities. Yeah. So it's like, do you believe that the whole Titanic thing was a conspiracy of some sort that had some ulterior motive, or do you think that like two things just happened that were similar? You know, this person wrote
Well, that's
about
like
this.
the Simpson predictions.
Yeah, which like I gotta be
Come on,
honest,
bro. Like, but come on. I mean, I'm not a big fan of like the Simpsons. You know what I mean?
Well-
Nor like inaccurate predictions, but come on.
Here's the thing about the Simpsons
been a
predictions,
few.
man. Have you seen the episodes that they're from?
Like with Kobe Bryant dying in a freaking helicopter.
Did you see a full
crash?
episode of it? Because I haven't. I'm just asking.
No, I like, I every once in a while try to like, when I want to veg out, just like, oh yeah, top 10 conspiracies that they predicted.
That's my thing. Like, and I could be wrong. I could be very wrong about this, but like, I've never seen one of those predictions with the full episode of The Simpsons attached to it. Like, what episode is it from? And
Gotcha.
like, just having gone to art school, like my friends that were animators were making Simpsons cartoons in their third semester. So like, it's not like it's hard to replicate The Simpsons animation
so I guess
style.
we're gonna go on like predictions, stuff like that. How about bringing it a little more, I guess, to a solidified thing? How about the Bible predictions with like Revelation and all this stuff in the end days, the 4 horsemen, disease, war,
Yeah, I don't know,
famine.
man. I mean, a lot of the church seems to think that this is something that's proving the end of days, that's proving the return of Christ and all that stuff. I don't know if I'm convinced of that yet.
So there's one thing that I saw the other day. It said that I think it was the second or third horseman was like disease or like plague. And that's the only horseman that actually talked that had a response. And it was said, don't touch the wine or something else. Like, don't touch the wines. Bro, I got to look it up for you. Oh, man. But it was like, don't touch the wines. And if you notice, out of all the businesses that are open now, how was it that liquor stores are essential?
Right. Well, I think from a presidential level or like a governmental level,
Like,
it's like you don't want to
people don't
close.
get trashed, and yeah,
Well, no, not even that.
they're
Like,
gonna be freaking wild out in the streets because they're so bored.
you don't want to close the liquor stores and have all these people that are addicted to alcohol, that are alcoholics, just start having freaking, because you can die if you're an alcoholic and you stop drinking, you can die. Like, it's happened to people I know.
Wow.
Like, we know, like, my friend passed away like that.
Wow.
And so I think that's really the case. That's really the reason that they're not shutting down the liquor stores. Because the last thing you want is start having homeless people dying, people coming into the ER from not withdrawal. What's the name of it?
Withdrawal.
Withdrawal. They're going through withdrawal and all this stuff. I think that's it. As far as like the biblical stuff, I'm not sure yet. There's some very clear things about the the book of Revelations. Yeah. But there's also some very unclear things. Like, there's the whole debate of like the rapture versus, whether we go up, whether the church itself ascends to heaven or before the rapture or after the rapture. And in my opinion, it's not clear.
Sure. And side note, guys, hey, if you guys have any comments, questions, or opinions about what we're speaking about, we'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're just going back and forth, trying to figure it out as well. So if you guys have anything to chime in, please do.
Educate us and tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you agree with, what you don't. That's what we're here for. We're here to talk. The whole idea of the rapture, us being, if you don't know what that is, it means that everybody who is a Christian, who believes in Jesus as the Lord and Savior, is going to be taken up to heaven. And it's essentially like Left Behind, the Kirk Cameron thing, like you disappear. I'm not so partial to that, and the only reason is because in everything else that God does, he allows us the choice. And so for him to deny us the choice and not be there when the world is kind of crumbling, it's kind of, I don't know if this is the right way to phrase it, it's not within God's character.
Sure.
To be like, oh, let me save my people before the real test comes. Yeah. He didn't do that with Israel.
Yeah.
He never did that with Israel. You know, he sent them in the desert, and
that's how I feel about God. I feel like it's all just a big, kind of like a test.
Right.
To see who's loyal or not.
Well, I look at it less as a test and more as
a simulation. No, then we're going into like AI.
What do you mean by like a test?
So a test. So what's the best way to see if somebody's loyal to you or not. Like, bro, I've been in situations where, so I've done this with like ex-girlfriends.
Okay.
That I would go out, and then I would like go to the bathroom, and then from afar and see if like, you know, and I would have, there'd be certain circumstances that I'll have my friends hit on them.
Right.
And then I would look, are they playing with their hair? Hee hee ha ha.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or they're like, no, thank you. Like, you know, I'm here with somebody. You know, that complete difference.
Right. Calibration. It's a calibration.
Yeah. But you only get to see that by stepping back and allowing them to be in a situation.
Right.
Or if you're expecting somebody of being a thief.
Right.
Like, hey, I'm just gonna leave this, you know, $20 bill here.
Well, I think those are two different things. So like I think the thief thing, that's baiting, right? Like that's like,
I mean, isn't it all baiting? Because now,
well, no, because like if I suspect that you're a thief, which you could very well not be,
yeah,
and I put the like $100 down, and like we're in coronavirus time right now, you're like, oh, this is probably mine. We take that. I hope it is. And then like, you know, it doesn't mean that just because you took it that time that's a habit of yours.
I mean, but wouldn't the proper thing to be like, hey, you dropped $100, like, you know, that's yours.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I think I look at it more as like a, well, I had
no, I absolutely bait people, bro.
Okay, yeah, baiting people. No, I think it's supposed to be. I think it's more of a choice. So like you're allowing for choice, because like what is love if
it's
not
like
the choice?
It's like suggested. Okay, so I had a conversation with a therapist friend of mine the other day.
Okay,
and it was about positive manipulation.
Interesting.
Right.
So like incentivizing positive behavior with certain rewards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like or me putting you in a position that's like you are going to benefit off of it, even though you don't know that you are. Now it's a very fine line because now I have to make sure that I'm doing it with the proper intentions.
Right.
And that also you kind of see those intentions, because if you don't, then it's going to be a sense of resentment, which is why manipulation doesn't work.
Right.
But positive manipulation is going to be like, hey man, you know, you're so good at this. I was doing it. My buddy of mine wants to be, you know, a freaking music artist. You know?
Okay.
But he has no idea how to count music. So we would hang out. You know, he would freestyle stuff like that. And then I would intentionally like put on instrumentals with a chorus in it.
Okay.
So he had
so he could figure out the bars.
His system. And then I said, oh, you know what? That sounds great. But you know, how about try to have a concept for this? And before he knew it, he was just coming up with songs that, you know, were like full songs, complete ideas.
Right.
But it was because I was like nudging him in that direction.
So I think that's less. Well, I mean, positive manipulation is a good way to put it.
Manipulation that you can say, oh, well, you know, don't do this.
But I also think it's leadership.
So, but with that leadership, do you believe in positive manipulation? Because my therapist friends told me no.
They don't believe in it?
They were like, that's gonna always end up bad.
I think it depends on what. It could be whether or not you even know you're doing it, right? Because some people are naturally like that. Some people are naturally going to teach you things that they know will benefit you. But I think
the transparency of it is what makes it a positive.
Right. Well, I think that's the separation between positive manipulation and leadership. It's like leadership, your intentions are clear. It's like, I want you to be a better songwriter. Therefore, you need to do the X, Y, and Z. And I'll show you how.
If you say that almost like the age-old thing, you can never tell your girl that she's fat.
Right.
You have to be like, no, babe, you know, I just want us to be healthy. I want us to live a good life together. You know, you can't be like, yo, babe, you know, like, yo, I don't know if you noticed.
That reminds me, we got to wrap up a little bit, but that reminds me of a funny story. I was watching David Dobrik on YouTube, and he does, you ever see that Kevin Hart show, What the Fit, on YouTube?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so.
Or like the ice baths and all that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he does a show where he'll do like aerobics or any kind of workout with a random celebrity, and he'll just bring them on. So he brought David Dobrik on, and they went to meet this couple who the dude is like jacked, Like he's
Nice.
solid. And then the girl is like thicky, you know, she's like a thicky little thing. And pretty much he used this whole her boyfriend used this whole elaborate thing with Kevin Hart to pretty much tell his girlfriend that she was fat.
Damn.
Like yeah, cuz like Kevin comes in, he's like, you know, we know you've been off track when it comes to training. We want to get you back to getting fire under your belly, blah blah. And it was just so funny to me because it's like I'm sure he's thought about it so much. Like, damn, she's not looking how I met her. And so, like, instead of saying that, he just did this whole thing, which kind of would be positive manipulation if you look at it. He, like, signed up for this show. He went on the show. He surprised her. She didn't know she was doing it. And then Kevin Hart just shows up at their breakfast.
Like, who's going to be mad at that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, I don't know. I mean, I do think that there's that positive manipulation, just like any manipulation, could lead to resentment.
And I think that's the backlash of it. But I mean, going back larger scale, I think with this whole government thing, I think there is a certain sense of manipulation through the media, through all this. I've talked to many people. Obviously, this is a serious subject.
Yeah.
But I also feel like it shouldn't be to this extent. If people are just being smart instead of being fearful, people just educate themselves.
Yeah.
Utilize common sense.
Well, that's what we hope everybody could have done from the beginning, right? It's like cool, calm, collective, aware but not anxious. You know, that
we used to have kids going down to Cancun and
yeah, unfortunately,
I'm not mad at them. I'm just surprised.
I'm surprised. The level of audacity is the word that you like to use all the time. The audacity.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, final thoughts on this thing, man. Coronavirus conspiracies.
I think this is the beginning of a different chapter in human society. You know, as a business owner, I worry because, you know, I went from a brick and mortar location now to having to engage with, you know, the online community.
Which is what we were talking about weeks ago.
Weeks ago before all this.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've been talking about this stuff for a while.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just seeing the trajectory of all this stuff. But I also think that it's a time for people to really, it's a great time, you know, and I would just suggest everybody's quarantined, has to do what they have to do. And now's the time to, hey, go through that freaking pile of paperwork that you haven't done, you know, do some spring cleaning, you know, get yourself, you know, start hitting some push-ups, squats.
Go on a walk.
You know, go on a walk, you know, step away from it all and really use this time to build. Because if not, you're going to find yourself, you know, stepping out into a new world that you're used to the old way of things.
Agreed, man. Yeah. I mean, final thoughts from me. Make sure that you keep your spiritual and mental self on the forefront during this whole thing, because it's very easy to just become a couch potato and just binge Netflix and not think about anything. I mean, use this as an opportunity to get closer with your spirituality, but at the same time, use this as an opportunity to try new ventures, man. Like explore, do the things that you couldn't do before. And you might not be able to still do some of them because you're in quarantine, but there's still always a way to like grab education. Like this is the time to educate yourself and just be ready to come back swinging.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll leave you guys. We'll see you next week. And like we keep saying, like, share, subscribe, comment. If you like what we're talking about, make sure you support it. You know, like these things run because of you, not because of us. And if you don't agree with something, if you don't agree with everything, let us know. You know, we're all about the trolls. You know, we welcome them.
What's up, trolls?
What's up? What's up?
Sexy motherfuckers.
All right, guys. Having another amazing day. This is Culture and God. I'm Angel. This is Josh.
Take care.